Today we're going to review how to find slope and rate of change from a table from 2 points when looking at a graph and when looking at an equation. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look from a table. The other day when I was absent in class, you should have watched a video about rate of change. To find rate of change, we find the change in y over the change in x. So from row 1 to row 2, the change is 0. And from row 1 to row 2 over here, it goes down by 1. So our change in y is -1, while our change in x is 0. If I type this into Desmos, it tells me that the rate of change is undefined. Our second example, I'm looking for the rate of change. So that means I'm looking for the change in y over the change in x. So from here to here, it goes up 50, and from here to here, it goes up 12. So my change in y is 12, my change in x is 50, and when I simplify that, I get divided by 2, 6 over 25. Our next one is slope from 2 points. So the first number in our order pair we're calling x1. The y in the order pair is y1. In our second order pair, the first value is called x2, and the second value is called y2. So this one says find the slope. The formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I'd like to go back and label these so that I don't get confused. So y2 is -7, y1 is -5, x2 is -2, and x1 is -1. Two negatives make a positive. This gives me -2. Two negatives make a positive, gives me -1. I want to make sure that I simplify this. -2 divided by -1 is +2. Let's do one more. We're going to find the slope between these 2 points. I always start by writing down my formula for slope. Next, I like to go back and make sure that I label which one is x1, y1, x2, and y2. So y2 is 7, y1 is 3, x2 is 5, and x1 is -1. So on the top I have 7 minus 3 is 4. Two negatives make a positive, so this becomes 6. And when I simplify this, my final answer is 2/3. Next, from a graph, I'm going to use rise over run. The sun rises up and down. To run, that means you're going across. So the first thing we do is we make a triangle, or step. Next I count 1, 2, 3, and 1. So I had to rise 3, and I had to run 1. This is an increasing line, so that means that my final answer is going to be +3 is my slope. Moving on to our next example, I'm looking for the slope. So when I have a graph like this, I use rise over run. Rise is up and down, run is going across. So I find 2 points. There's one right here and one right here. I make a step or a triangle, and I start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the rise was 4 and the run was 6. I can simplify this. And then the last thing I want to do is check the direction. This is a decreasing line, so my final answer is negative 2/3. Last but not least, when we have an equation like this, y equals mx plus b, where the y is alone, the number next to the x is the slope. That's our coefficient. So in this problem, the y is by itself. Here's the x, so that means that this is the slope. This one's a little bit tricky because the y is by itself, so that's good. But this time the x is right here. So the slope for this one is actually